What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Daniel Williams and this is the Cedar Ridge Chronicles. I kind of do a lot of taxidermy and I kind of do a little bit of hunting and fishing, gardening, whatever. I just do outdoor stuff. And I video it and maybe somebody watches it. I don't know. Guys, I want to say thank y'all for me hitting 6,000 subscribers. That is awesome. All because of y'all. I can't believe that I've hit 6,000. I mean, I really didn't think I'd ever make it over 1,000. But hopefully we can get on up to about 10 grand. And I may try to do a giveaway when we get to 10,000. I don't know what I'm going to give away yet, but I'll try to make some kind of plans to do something. Well, guys, today there's something I want to talk about. Don't know if y'all saw it in the news. I saw this last night. Today's January the 13th, Friday the 13th. If y'all, depending on when y'all are watching this video, but last Tuesday, there was a taxidermist in Indiana. Y'all bear with me, by the way. I'm skinning a deer head out, so I'm not really going to be paying attention to y'all, just going to be talking to you. So, anyway, taxidermist in Indiana got arrested for multiple felonies because he did not return taxidermy work to his customers. They had paid deposits, or maybe possibly paid in full, and he had just never mounted their deer heads. Now, the problem is, he also never answered the phone. After continually trying to get in touch with the guy, they couldn't get in touch, and I don't really know how long this went on for, but apparently long enough to where they felt like they needed to call the police. And now, y'all think about this a minute. I mean, if it's y'all's trophy buck, I mean, y'all probably do the same thing. Because in my opinion, I'm a taxidermist, but I also like trophy buck hunting. And my deer heads are more important to me than the money that I paid for them. So I would rather have the rack, even if without the cape. If I could get my rack back and never got any of my money back, that would be almost okay. Because, a deer is unique. Money is not. Money can be hard to get, but money is money. Every deer that you kill, whether it's your best buck or just a trophy buck that you kill that you want to get mounted, it's going to be unique. It can never be duplicated. You can make a replica, but it's not going to be your deer that is one of a kind. And man, that's tough pill to swallow. But the crazy thing is that I know of probably 5 or 6, 7 stories just locally that are very similar to this. Now, the people were not arrested, and I don't know if the police were ever actually called. But why do y'all think it is that taxidermists will just pack up sometimes and leave? Sometimes they'll move out of state, they'll just move to a different house, and they just never let anybody know anything. Maybe it's because they've already spent all of the money they were given for the animals, but they never return the animals. They never call anybody and tell them they're leaving. They just disappear. They change their phone number and they just disappear. What they do with the animals, I don't know. I don't know if they take them to the landfill. I don't know what happens with all of that, but I've never understood that because, to me, maybe if you're just a taxidermist, you don't understand. But if you're a taxidermist and you're a deer hunter, that deer is more important to some of these people than their own children. You just don't want to run off with somebody's deer head. That's not the way you do business. Now, what happened, these guys that called about their taxidermy work, when the police went to this man's house, they couldn't get in touch with the guy for one thing. He wouldn't answer the phone. So they finally go to his house. They get there, and he's got just racks all over the place where he's been taking deer in. He tells the police that he doesn't really have to answer the phone. He just kind of shrugs them off when they tell him that he's got to, be available on the phone if he's running a business. He pretty much shrugs that off like it's, no big deal. And his whole shop is just slam full of deer antlers where he's taking deer and hasn't done. The way that they explained it in the article is that there was no sign that the man was even doing any taxidermy work. He had no stuff that he's working on, nothing that was partially finished. He just was taking all these animals, and he told them that he was 2 years behind. So That brings me to a whole nother point about getting 2 years behind, but it is what it is. But anyway, I want to know what y'all's thought is about what y'all would do in this situation if it was y'all's deer. I mean, because it's just a bad situation to put yourself in as a taxidermist. The cool thing about this channel is I think probably half of y'all watching are probably taxidermists, the other half of y'all watching are just deer hunters. So it would be kind of interesting to know from either side what y'all's opinions and thoughts are on this. But he did get charged with multiple felonies, got charged 3 counts of theft, and went to jail. You know, the crazy thing is, I mean, I know people personally that have refused to give back taxidermy work to people that they had not done yet, just because they said they told them that they were going to do it. So when the customer called and said, man, it's been 2 years, like I want to get my so-and-so back, the customer told, the taxidermist told them, no, I told you I was going to mount this and I'm going to mount it. And they're like, well, it's been too long. I want to come get it. And they're like, no, you're not coming to get it. Like, you paid for it. I told you I'm going to mount it, so I'm going to mount it. I mean, you know, may land you in jail. I mean, you got to be real careful with stuff like that. I mean, it's not your animal. And, you know, one thing that I try to do, now I've got a video on here. I believe it's the one that I named Quality Doesn't Matter, or Why Quality Doesn't Matter. And I talk about how I take payment. And I do take a lot of money up front, whether it's paid in full payments, deposits, all that. I'm not going to mount deer for free. I'm just not. I'm not going to order your stuff for free. I'm not going to pay out of my pocket to mount your deer. Now, I also don't really give receipts. I have receipts, and I've got customers that sometimes request a receipt. Now, we've never really talked about receipts before. Even in that video, I've got a receipt book. And some customers request a receipt, which I can fully understand. If they don't know who I am or have read stories like this, I mean, obviously they're going to need paperwork if something like this happens. The police are even, you know, in this situation under a court of law, I mean, they're going to have to prove that they paid money. So they're either going to have a receipt or a canceled check, some way showing on paper that they paid money and did not receive product. So, you know, is it a good business practice to give out receipts? I guess it's entirely up to you, but the customer, like as a deer hunter, I would kind of suggest that y'all start asking for a receipt from your taxidermist, just in case a situation like this comes up, because I mean, these deer are unique. I mean, if you want to get this rack back again, and you've got to be able to prove it in a court of law under some bad circumstances, receipt's not too bad an idea. Now, do I always give out receipts? No, I don't ever give out a receipt unless somebody requests it. But there again, if I've got a bunch of deer heads and somebody can't find one, they can find me. You know, at this day and time, 99% of people are all over social media in some form or fashion. And I mean, I've got 3 Facebook pages and a YouTube channel. If somebody needs to find me, they'll find me whether I try to hide or not. I mean, somebody's going to know where I'm at 9 times out of 10. So, you know, usually people don't even ask me for stuff like that because they know where they can find me. Now, am I going to answer the phone? Yes. Unless something crazy happens, unless I'm hunting in a tree or something, but I do take text messages, try to return every single one of those as fast as I possibly can as soon as I get into phone service. But you can't just leave people in the dark. I mean, you can't just not answer your phone for 6 months to a year because you just don't feel like dealing with that. If you are working a public service, retail, any kind of way you're getting paid to do a service for somebody, if that service is not done, you need to be readily available. Because if somebody is out of money, especially, or in this case, a trophy deer rack, which may be more important than money, they're going to want to know that it's okay. Which, you know, I mentioned in that other video that sometimes, you know, I will tell people if they're a little bit squeamish about either paying me a deposit or leaving their deer head with me because they just don't know who I am. A lot of these guys do not have social media. They've never seen my work. They've never seen me on YouTube. They've never seen me on Facebook. Never seen a picture of any of my stuff. And if they bring the thing, you know, late fall, I may not even have a deer in there on the wall on display they can look at. So, you know, if they're a little bit nervous, I always tell them they can either take their rack with them and they can bring it back when I'm ready to mount it, or they can come by my shop anytime that I'm down here and they can come and look at it and just make sure that it's still here. And 99% of the time, that fixes that entire problem. I've even had several people that did take their rack with them. A lot of folks just want to show it to their buddies and just hang on to it, be able to show everybody and then look at it themselves. You know, while they're in their living room, sitting there watching TV, they can sit at the couch right beside them and look over there every once in a while at it and just, you know they done good. So that's cool. I mean, I don't need the thing. It just takes up room in my shop until I'm ready to put it on a form. So, you know, try to do that kind of stuff. If you're a taxidermist, something to think about, or if you're thinking about getting into taxidermy, make sure you keep all this stuff in mind, because the second that you get ready to isolate yourself, may be the day that you find yourself in a jail cell. So make sure you keep in contact with your customers, because they just might call the police. This is what I want y'all to do. Down in the comment section, hunters and taxidermists, I kind of like to know both sides of this and see what y'all think about, number one, you know, it being a felony, which, I mean, I guess it is. I mean, it's theft. I mean, you're stealing somebody's money. I've never heard of anybody going to jail over taxidermy work. Now, I've heard of people suing somebody to get their money for taxidermy work, where jobs were finished and the customer would not pay. I have heard of that. I know some guys that have done that personally. But do y'all know anybody personally that are taxidermists who refuse to do the customer's work or refuse to answer the phone? That's what I would like to know, because I hear about this a lot. Sometimes it's out of state, you know, sometimes it's hearsay, word of mouth, you know, it's not people I know personally that just up and leave. But I have heard several stories of people losing several of their trophies because over a period of 2 or 3 years, they may have brought them 6 deer. And all of a sudden, they just up and left and never contacted anybody. Nobody knows how to get in touch with them, and everything is just gone. So y'all go down below in the comments and y'all comment on here, and let's just have a little discussion, see what y'all think about this. It's something to keep in mind. If you're gonna do some taxidermy work, probably ought to keep your phone handy. especially if you're 2 or 3 years behind. Some of these folks may be getting a little bit antsy, maybe dialing the local police department instead of your cell phone number. But guys, I'm going to get off of here and finish skinning out these deer heads. I hope y'all have a great afternoon. I hope y'all come back for the next video, whatever it's going to be. And between now and then, y'all stay safe out there. Y'all have a good time. Good luck the rest of deer season if it's still in your area. And we will see y'all in the next video.